Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Day-Date 40 reference 228206 in full platinum. You can see this 3-day power reserve, full platinum Rolex Day-Date complication and purchase it on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch with additional accessories included in the sale, high-resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this 40mm 3-day power reserve superlative chronometer with spectacular ice blue dial. Now, one of the great thrills in the world of luxury watches is strapping on a full platinum Rolex timepiece. And when it's a full platinum Rolex Day-Date 40, you feel like there's such a sense of occasion. You'd have to don some sort of grandiose title like Kaiser, Imperator, or maybe Elon Musk. The watch has that kind of gravitas. It has its own sense of occasion that travels with it. The timepiece is easy to wear on a smaller wrist, even though it has immense physical heft. You can see on my 16cm circumference oval wrist that this Day-Date 40 wears far more compact than the Day-Date 2 that preceded it. Now, from 2008 to 2014, Rolex made the 41mm Day-Date 2, and then since 2015, Rolex has made the Day-Date 40, but the real change comes in the lug-to-lug dimension. Yes, the watch is 1mm narrower across the case, not including the crown. It's 40mm, but whereas the Day-Date 2 featured solid end links that protruded beyond the flanks of the lugs, the Day-Date 40 measures dead even, whether you measure it from lug to lug or from the end of the bracelet to the opposite end. It's 47.7mm across the wrist horizontally, whereas the old Day-Date 2 with its solid end links was 53.2mm across the wrist. So that's a substantial difference that does affect who can and cannot wear this watch. Where they have not changed is in their thickness. They're both 12mm on the nose. There might be a micrometric difference, but trust me, you're not going to notice and you're not going to care. You will notice and care that the watch has immense heft about it, and because, of course, the watch is often nicknamed the President, it's important to point out that the bracelet itself is, in fact, named by Rolex the President bracelet, and we have some refinements here. The Day-Date 2 was the first application of ceramic-coated pins, only in the Platinum model, only in the 218206. Now, all the Day-Date 40s have ceramic-coated pins in the bracelet, so the pins are not going to wear down. Platinum can't wear down a ceramic coating, therefore there is no stretch over time, as the famed Rolex bracelet stretch was anything but. The metal didn't elastically expand so much as the pins joining the links together began to wear down, creating play. There will be none with these bracelets. What I love about the President bracelet, traditionally, is that you have 3 links, so it's a little bit of a more robust design, a more robust construction than the 5-link Jubilee, but it's also more elegant, and because the individual links are smaller end to end rather than the big burly triple links of the Oyster, it has the same silky supple feel on the wrist as the 5-link Jubilee, so you get a tougher, more robust bracelet with the same comfort on the wrist. Of course, Rolex's solid deployant and crown clasp, a very robust mechanism. This is going to be familiar to anyone who's worn a post-2000 Rolex Day-Date, Day-Date 236 or 40. It's a very substantial mechanism, and the crown, which is the only visible symbol of the partition of the two, is more of an articulated switch to open and unlock the clasp rather than a simple shim to pry it open. Tremendous refinement throughout on this watch. Now, speaking of refinement, let's get close to the dial because there have been some changes. The case, very similar, perhaps a little bit more elegant in its profiling. There have been some nips and tucks here and there, but you'd really have to have it alongside a Day-Date 2 to notice the differences. The big difference comes in the profile of the bracelet at the end links that we discussed. Now, if I can get a little bit closer here, I'm going to try to show you the features of the laser-etched dial. This is Rolex's ice blue. It's been a signature color that's generally reserved for Rolex's platinum watches. The applied and highly stylized blued white gold Roman numerals sit atop what can best be described as a quartered and perpendicular set of linear striations. So they're perpendicular to each other as they're oriented. It's a little bit difficult to pick up the pattern, but you can see the cleft of the two bottom quarters running from the cannon pinion down to 6. You can see that to good advantage. And when I turn the watch, you may be able to see the distinction between two additional quarters at what would conventionally be, for instance, 10 o'clock and 7 o'clock. It's something that is charismatic and subtle, and in the best possible way. A watch like this might be considered ostentatious by some, but the subtleties of the dial ensure that only the owner is going to get the full benefit of its detailing, its fit, and its finish. The dial truly is something to behold. At the macro level, where the color and the height of these gorgeous gloss-faceted Romans comes to the fore, or when you get very close and the texture becomes the most salient feature of the dial. Now, there is a very subtle railroad track outboard that you can see, the better to trace the minutes as well as the seconds. The watch does feature the double quick set functionality, so you have the ability to, in the intermediate position, quickly set the date, or should you wish to not land on Friday the 13th, you can also set the day. So double quick set functionality, but what changes here is that now we have Rolex's caliber 3255. So unlike the older 48-hour power reserve, the 3255 has a 70-hour power reserve. So if you do want to rotate through a collection, let's say you've also got a Daytona, let's say you've also got a sub, maybe this isn't an all-the-time watch for you. You can easily put it down for a day or two and it will continue to beat away at 28,000 vibrations per hour. Now, it has the quick set. It also has hacking or stop seconds, so you can synchronize the watch precisely. Here's the case back. It's a big block of platinum, so not much to see, but it substantially increases the heft of the watch. It's more than you expect if you're used to display caseback watches. Now, the movement itself is also a superlative chronometer, as Rolex dubs it, which means it meets all the COSC standards and then it goes above and beyond as a fully cased watch. Rolex taking the COSC certified movement, putting it in the case, and whereas chronometer standard is -4 + 6 per day, the Rolex superlative chronometer standard is no worse than -2 + 2 per day. Robust, handsome on the outside, tough on the inside. It features a full balance bridge and a free sprung index that make it more shock resistant. It has parachrom blue alloy in its hairspring, which makes it anti-magnetic, and it has a Breguet overcoil profile to the hairspring itself, the better to resist positional or gravitationally induced timing deviation. That's what helps it to ace all of those tests of chronometry. You can see and you can pick up the latest of the line, the full platinum Rolex Day-Date 40. Own it on our website.